Good morning, children. Daddy worked late last night, but I have my coffee and the sun in my eyes, so all is well. I don't think anybody's going to be here for this. I will chat along nonetheless. I might just sit here and drink my coffee, but it was last minute. I sent you guys a text, but I also know you have lives. And it's 9 a.m. here, which means it's barely morning there. But yeah, good morning. I have absolutely nothing planned or thought through to talk about, but I have my coffee. And like I said, I have the sunshine. It's snowy outside. It snowed the last few days, off and on. I'll show it to you. You can see it out there. See the white snow, pure as the wind-driven snow. And yeah, it snowed and now it's really windy out there, so it's a lovely combination. The wind reminds me of Oklahoma. Growing up, it was always windy there in Oklahoma. Growing up. And we would... Anything you do in the wintertime in Oklahoma was pretty miserable, and your ears would always ache because it was humid, cold, and windy, and it would just cut you to the bone. But in Oklahoma, in the wintertime, I'll give you some childhood memory here. In the wintertime, I had, by the way, probably the best childhood. I had an idyllic childhood. Both of my parents were married all the way until my mother passed away. My grandparents, Grandma and Granddad Simpson, were married all the way. Grandma and Grandpa Taylor were married all the way. And so I was not a child of divorce. My mom and dad were together all the way to the bitter end, etc., etc. And so we would go every other weekend. My parents, pretty much most of my childhood, every other weekend, we would go to one of the grandparents' house, my mom's parents or my dad's parents. And my mom's parents were farmers, and my dad's parents were just blue-collar, salt-of-the-earth people. Grandpa was a police officer, and Grandma was a nurse at a hospital for a season of life. This was during the time in Oklahoma and also in the Midwest and the South where people were more prejudiced, and the black ladies and the Indian ladies at the hospital where Grandma worked called her Grandma Chalk because she was as white as a piece of chalk. And so that was her nickname, and she loved that nickname, Grandma Chalk. That's who she was to them, Grandma Chalk. And we would go to Grandma and Granddad Simpson's house, and in the winter time, early in the morning, the men would get up. That would be my dad, my granddad. A lot of times Connie and Edward would be there spending the night. So the families all got together. The dads, the granddads, and the uncles, and they would, if you were old enough, they would wake you up, old enough was like 5, and say, do you want to go with Granddad to feed cattle? And so it's around 6, you would get up and put on warm clothes, go to the barn, and there was a blue pickup truck there, and in the back of that truck, we would put what's called cake. And cake was basically these giant pellets in these big feed sacks, 50-pound sacks that the cattle would eat. And we called it cake, I think just because they liked it. And so we would put 10 sacks, 15 sacks of cake, 50 pounds each, in the back of a truck. And then we would drive down a dirt road. And we had, I think, typically 3 stops to make, 3 different canyons, feedlots. They weren't feedlots like thousands of cattle. Granddad never had more than a few hundred. But we would, whoever was sitting on the passenger side would get out, would open the gate to the lot, and we would drive in there and pour the food either on the ground or in a trough. And a trough was what the cattle ate out of. It was a barrel that Granddad had cut in half with a cutting torch, which is a acetylene torch with an oxygen lever on the back of it that makes the flame turn blue. He'd cut a barrel in half, so it would be 2 halves, and then we would weld, or he would weld a feet onto the bottom of it, so it would be a little feeding trough. And that's how farmers make things. They take cheap or free things and make new things out of it. But the thing I remember was the windmills would pump water out of the ground and put it into the watering tank for the cattle, and we would take a ball peen hammer and break the ice so the cattle could get a drink. We'd break the ice on that and take these giant chunks, thick chunks of ice out. Your hands were freezing cold, and to the point where they would burn. And then you would get back in the truck and go to the next feedlot. And then by the time you got home, 7, 8 o'clock, I don't know, an hour or 2 later, by the time you got home, Grandma had made breakfast, a country breakfast. She had Folgers in the pot, Folgers coffee that I didn't know anything else existed. I didn't drink coffee back then. I was a kid. But breakfast was biscuits and gravy, sausage, bacon, eggs, the coffee, milk, fresh milk, good milk. We would have a big breakfast, and then the kids, we had a fireplace, or Grandma and Granddad Simpson had a fireplace, and we would sit in front of the fireplace and play games like dominoes. I didn't play dominoes. I lined them up and then pushed them so that they would topple over. Grandma had 2 packages of dominoes, and I would need both of them for my creations. And that's what we'd do. We'd spend the day at the farm, and the adults would talk, and the kids would play. We didn't have a video game. We didn't have internet. Grandma didn't have Wi-Fi. The internet didn't exist yet, really. When I was growing up, we didn't have the internet at all. We had, actually, if you went out to the country, or if you were poor, or if you just weren't up with the times, you owned a television set which had a knob on the front that went click, 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 click as you turned the channels. There were about 12 of them, channels. If you weren't up with the times, you had 3 channels that you could tune into. 3 channels, 4, 5, and 9. K4, KOAA, I think, was 5, and KWTV 9, which, as everyone knows, is the best channel. Channel 9 was the best channel in Oklahoma. Everybody knows this. Channel 9 had Gary England. As you got older, they had a Gary England drinking game in college. Channel 9 had Gary England in it, who was Oklahoma's #1 meteorologist. We learned words like Hook Echo, Wall Cloud. Gary England was quite the stuff. My sister met Gary England. He's a celebrity in Oklahoma. You wouldn't know much about Gary England, but you should. And so I'm telling you about Gary England now. I'm going to go refill my coffee. I'll be right back. In the summertime, we would go to, my parents would take me to Grandma and Granddad Simpson's house, or we would go to Connie and Edward's house. I liked Connie and Edward's house because I enjoyed playing with my cousins there. I had two cousins, Jason and Jamie, and they had all the good toys. Connie and Edward's house had, first of all, there was video games. I think it was Sega. We started out with Atari, which was the shit. And then we ended up with, I don't remember what it was, but Jason had good video games. And they had a sunroom with a pool table. And they had a hot tub. And they had a swimming pool, and they had a hay barn that Jason and I could swing on a rope off the hay into the air. And we could also shoot, I would shoot barn swallows with my BB gun. I could shoot my BB gun. And then there was always a supply of Black Cat firecrackers, and that we would unwind and just light one at a time and put them in a can or different things and see what we could blow up with these firecrackers. But we always had a supply of firecrackers, just year round. We had firecrackers and we could blow things up. It was fun. By the way, don't play with fire and don't play with explosives. You can actually blow your fingers off doing some of the things I did. So if you like your fingers, don't play with firecrackers. They had horses that you could ride, quarter horses, and they had cattle, usually a little bull or a little cow, a little calf that you could bottle feed. From time to time, there would be a little baby calf that you go to the barn. You could mix up the milk in this giant, tall bottle, and the nipple on that thing was that tall and about that big around, and the little calf would butt you with its head because it really wanted some milk. But I would go to there, or we'd go to Grandma and Granddad Simpson's house, and in the summertime, on Granddad's land, he had 2 ponds that you could fish in, private ponds, stocked ponds that you could fish in. And there was this guy named Egan is his last name. Blaine Egan is the owner of that land now. Had a giant pond. It looked like it was bigger than Lake Manitou that we've been fishing at. It was just giant pond. And what I could do as a 12, 13, 14-year-old boy is the day before, I would go behind the barn where there were these giant round hay bales. And I would gather grasshoppers into a Folgers can with the lid on the top with little holes poked in the lid. And I would gather probably about 15 grasshoppers. And then I would put those grasshoppers in an egg carton on the back of the three-wheeler. Granddad had a Honda three-wheeler. And so I would pack a little lunch I would put my grasshoppers, a tackle box, a fishing pole. No phone. I didn't own a phone. I didn't own a phone when I was a kid. I didn't own a phone of my own until I was maybe 19, 20. I didn't own a phone. But I would get on the back of the three-wheeler and drive down this dirt road to the cattle lot, open the gate, drive in, close the gate, drive up to the pond, unpack my things, and just fish in the morning. And sometimes Grandma or somebody would come out and check on me. I didn't realize it at the time. I thought they were just coming to see me. But, I was alone around a body of water. They would just come to check to make sure I was still alive. I would fish. I don't know that Dad enjoyed it when I caught fish because that meant somebody has to clean them. I don't know what to do with them. But I'd bring them back, usually some perch with very little meat on it. But I caught it and I want to eat it, damn it. So that's what would happen. I'd eat that fish. Also in the summer was wheat harvest. Maybe I'll tell you about wheat harvest at another time. What time is it here? See that bright light in my eyes? Yeah, I suffer for these videos, I'll tell you. Oh, it's 9:28. I've got a little bit of time. So, yeah, it's today is December 10th. I'm off work, and Mom said she's getting you guys tickets to come here the 24th through. Oh, Eric is at his volleyball tournament. Wish me luck. I will type in awesomeness. All right. I am giving you a shout out on my empty live, LOL. Shout out goes to Eric at his volleyball tournament. Hopefully he's doing well, kicking butt and taking names. We will drink a sip of coffee to the young Master Eric, who is winning the volleyball tournament. With the help of teammates, of course. Emma, good morning. How are you? Good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Yep. Well, I think that's enough for today. I think I'm going to make myself some breakfast. I've made myself hungry talking about Grandma Simpson's breakfast, Connie's breakfast. Connie, my Aunt Connie, it's notable, used to make Pac-Man sausage. That was the kind of sausage that I liked, was sausage in the shape of a Pac-Man. And so my sausages were round, but they had a little wedge cut out. So when you turn it, my sausage looked like Pac-Man. And so I requested, when at Connie and Edward's house, I requested Pac-Man sausage. And we had, by the way, blue and gold sausage. Blue and gold sausage. Somebody at the FFA, Future Farmers of America, would be raising some gold medal pig, which reminds me of a proverb. And I'll tell you in just a moment. And then they would slaughter that pig, and you get blue and gold sausage. Things that you used to get from Oklahoma you can't find in Colorado or in that flaccid state of Florida. You can't get blue and gold sausage. You also can't get Watonga cheese. Can't get that. Watonga cheese. But a prize pig reminds me of a proverb, and the proverb reminds me of women today that I see when I just go out, walk around, go to the grocery store, and these women who don't know how to dress, and they wear these sort of Lululemon pants because they think they're showing off their bodies or something. But it's the proverb is, Like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman who shows no discretion. Like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman who shows no discretion. A lot of ladies today that show no discretion. You don't even have to use your imagination if you're a young man to wonder what they look like without clothes on, because they just dress in such a way. Bunch of 304s out there in the world. So if you're a lady, you should use discretion, show discretion, leave a little bit to the imagination, cover yourself, wear normal clothes. I shouldn't see certain parts of your body excessively. So there's a lesson from Dad. Cover up. Cover up. It's not a horror show out there. Cover up. Well, I think that's all I have for today. Children, make sure, and by the way, I have many laurels to rest on because I have 15 subscribers. You don't need to subscribe. All you need to do from this point on is like, do everything necessary for that greedy little algorithm. Share. You don't have to share. Share with each other, just back and forth. And hit that bell notification. Very important. This is your father broadcasting live, actually, from colorful Colorado, where youth meets opportunity, and you yahoos will be listening to this in that flaccid, dangly, wrinkled, bald state of Florida where old people die, or old people go to die, or sometimes they just go to Austin. The reasons for you being there are very, very, very thin. And middle-aged people hit the unforgiving but very fair wall. I smile every time I think about it. Love you guys, and you and I will talk again soon.